Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kenya Revolutionary coming to you with another video very quickly, very quickly. I will not keep you here for long. I'll just ask that you stay with me as we talk about what's going on. I know today the topic is just about a bunch of names, um, which are names that you're familiar with if you've been following Kenyan politics, okay? As you can see, Ruto, ODM, Jalango, Sifuna, Okech, Salah, Oburu. Okay, these are what's making headlines for this past week, or it's still making headlines right now. I want to talk about these individuals and this party that's going on. But before I get started, ladies and gentlemen, we have to get the pleasantries and the neo out of the way. If this is your first time here, my name is Kenya Revolutionary. I talk about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So if you like that kind of content, please take a minute and subscribe to the channel, like this video, share, comment, and make sure the notification bell is on so every time I come in, you'll always find me here. And if you've already subscribed, you know the first order of business is to do what? Like the video. I'm on again. Sawa, let's get to it. All right, so what's hot off the news press is that Jalas, who is the current MP for Langata, who was endorsed and basically Raila Odinga, made him there. Raila, he was in ODM, okay? Then you know how it goes when Raila Odinga kind of blesses you and says, okay, we want to Mama Langata. And Langata, if you know the history of Langata, it's been historically known, it's been Raila's backyard. Omugendi karibu sana. Thank you so much for observing the protocol. Thank you, nice seeing you. I hope Uganda is doing well. I saw that the IBC and all that stuff is going, some funny stuff is going on in Uganda about the electoral commission there. So I think the declaration of Museveni officially winning the presidency, I think it's been put to a halt. I don't know correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the last time I read that, there's some controversy going on about the electoral commission of Uganda. So I don't know, but nice seeing you, Omugende. I hope Kampala or Uganda, wherever you are, you're doing well. But let's get back to the Kenyan thing. I might make a segment, a video about Uganda. So yes. So like I was saying, Jalas, popularly known as Jalango, popularly known as Jalas, has been the MP of Langata in the past 3-4 years, whatever the case is. After that, he kind of fell out with Nani. Jalango is a clown. Absolutely. So he kind of fell out with Raila Odinga for a while. Then they made up before Raila Odinga died. But it was obvious that Jalas was the general consensus is that Jalas. Thank you so much, Omugendi. The general consensus within his constituency that he represents, the Langata area, whatever the case is that he was not going to be re-elected. He's very unpopular. People do not like him. So it is believed that Jalas probably was not going to win the re-election of for MP in Langata, okay? Due to the fact that there's another candidate, I forgot his name, who seems to be more popular than him. And given the fact that most people felt like Jalas was more aligned with Ruto than with Baba, especially after they fell off. When I say Baba, I mean Raila Odinga. Let me correct myself, but majority of Kenyans call him Baba. Some Kenyan people call him Baba. But let me just say that a chunk of Raila supporters, ODM supporters, who sponsored Jalango to that seat, feel like he kind of let them down. He's not doing anything for Langata people. And generally speaking, ODM that is aligned to Raila Odinga, they've rejected Jalas, okay? Jalas was more aligned with Ruto, the president. And as you know, Ruto is not liked in Kenya. Let me just get that straight right now. Forget the propaganda. Ruto is not popular as he might make you think. So it was understood. The general feeling was Jalango was not going to win the re-election in in Langata. But hey, here's the latest move. Jalas, yesterday or the day before, today, whatever the case may be, he came out and said that he will be challenging Sifuna for the senatorial seat of Nairobi. Okay? We all know that. Okay? He said, right, thank you. So he announced that he's going to challenge Sifuna for his senatorial seat in Nairobi. As you know, Sifuna has been a thorn in Ruto's behind. Okay, he's been the most vocal anti-Oburu, not anti-Oburu, but anti this broad-based arrangement that Oburu and the Wangas and the Mbadi, who wants to make us believe that Raila Odinga wanted to work with the Ruto or stick to the broad-based past 2027. And we all know, we saw the video, Raila clearly stated that, ODM shall, have their own presidential candidates come 2027, okay? So, for those Mbadis and Wanga who are coming out and telling us that, Raila wanted to, prop up Ruto to be the presidential candidate in 2027, they're simply being disingenuous, okay? Now, let's get to this let me start with this Jalas. I want to go back to Ruto, because Ruto is the hidden hand here, okay? And I know most people think that Ruto is this political genius. Ruto is actually not a political genius. I've been saying this. It's just that his opponents just don't think. They don't think ahead. They don't know how to counter Ruto. And the latest moves by President William Ruto, okay, the president of Kenya, who knows that 2027 might not be, he might not be re-elected. Sorry, I had to take a coffee break. Clearly shows that Ruto might be frying himself. He might be frying himself in his own fat, okay? Ruto, I think, is going to face not a hard time, a torrid, a mass action against him, okay? Absolutely, Elisha. Ruto he has already made, not even is making, he has already made a terrible decision, okay? It is obvious that Jalas was basically, summoned by Ruto to his office, and Ruto gave him a couple of, change, okay? Your taxpayers' money, the sham money that has been lost, 11 billion, whatever billion it was, okay? The money that Ruto has been looting from every public institution, to bribe or to pay Jalas in order to try to, make life hard for Sifuna, basically trying to challenge Sifuna or unseat Sifuna from the senatorial seat of Nairobi, which is a colossal mistake by William Samoei Ruto. Let me explain to you why. Haven't you noticed that for these past few weeks, there has been all these tournaments, whether it's Kajembe versus I don't know who, and guess who's giving out money for this Kajembe, whatever, event? Ruto. And Obena, being a stooge of William Ruto, is in the center of it. Jalas, being a stooge of Ruto, is in the center of it. It's amazing how we are witnessing this Ruto paid pawns, okay, that are running around with millions in cash, okay? Millions. I'm talking about millions in cash, okay? Who does that? First of all, any rich person who legitimately makes money does not run around with wads of cash in millions, okay? It's embarrassing. It's an outrageous gesture just to see the president and all these public officials who are supposed to be our representatives running around with millions in cash that they cannot explain where they got them from, because I mean, if you're going to buy their salaries, I don't think Jalas makes millions of Kenyan shillings per month that he should be running around, you know, giving out Obena for an event. Now, this ties into Okech Salah, okay? You saw the disaster class of the comrades going to KICC for the ODM, I don't know, Linda Ground event that he planned there. It was a total disaster class. And the reason why I'm mentioning all these things, I want to just bring your attention to just think about it. I want you to get a mental picture of this. Okay? We've been having images of Jalas, Obena, Okech Salah, these people who are very close to Ruto, okay, who are supporting Oburu. Anybody that supports Oburu is basically a Ruto stooge. They're hiding behind ODM and Oburu faction of the broad-based government because they are being paid to do so. Okay, these people are not ODM. Listen, personally, I don't care about ODM. I can care less if it breaks up or whatever. I do not care about the political party. But I'm just giving you, I'm just bringing to your attention how everybody that you see is supporting Oburu's position is basically supporting Ruto. They can't just come out openly and say, we are not supporting Ruto because they know it's an unpopular thing. So how they're doing it is by pretending that we are working behind Oburu Odinga, Wanga, Junet, Ambadi, Joho, Oparanya, all these broad-based who only care about their interests because Ruto is paying them millions to create this perception that ODM, that is perceived to be the party that represents the Nyanza province, are supporting his candidature in 2007. You understand? So that's why Ruto is still splashing that cash on the Mbadis, Opio Andais, Wangas, Okech Salah, Kasmuels. You see what I'm saying? That's why these people are singing as loudly as they can. Now, here's why I say William Samoei Ruto is not smart. He's actually very stupid. Okay, let me not say he's stupid. Let me say his IQ here, his political IQ is not that high, okay? Because he is frying himself politically. Listen to me carefully. I've mentioned to you and I've painted a picture to you, okay? I've painted a picture to you of how these Ruto-affiliated politicians and influencers and representatives are walking around with wads of cash in millions, sacks of cash, okay, dishing out, okay, to the Wananchi, trying to buy Wananchi to favor this ODM, UDA, broad-based nonsense, which in essence is support for Ruto for re-election in 2027. Okay, I've painted that picture. Now, what is going to hurt Ruto is this individual called Salah, Okech Salah. This guy, if he doesn't disappear from the political scene, he is going to bury Ruto alive. Now, there was a letter that came out yesterday from the Odinga family, but it's a fake letter. I think it's a fake letter. I'm just waiting for the Odinga family to come out and say that, hey, listen, this letter was fake, because I can't believe it was poorly written and I don't think it's real. But let's just mention what that letter was echoing. That is a ticking time bomb that's going to blow up in Ruto's face. Listen to me carefully. People have started raising questions over this individual called Okech Salah. Okech Salah is a Somali guy who probably grew up in Luo Nyanza. So he has mastered the Luo language. Okay, he can speak it fluently. Okay, but visibly you can see he's actually a Somali guy, right? Kind of like Junet. Now, the mistake that Salah made a few weeks ago, there was, I think, a wedding or a funeral somewhere in the northeastern where Duale, Nuruddin Haji, this NIS people, CID people, if you know the intelligence unit of Kenya, majority of them is really occupied by, the offices are occupied by the Somali guys, okay? Okay? And this goes back to since Moi days. But anyway, regardless, there was a wedding or a funeral of some sort. It was a public event of some sort, okay? Where Nuruddin Haji, Junet, Aden Duale, and top of this NIS Somali guys were attending. And Salah also attended that event. And Salah publicly stated that Duale or one of them, or Nuruddin Haji or one of them, was his cousin. Listen to me. He said that Duale or Nuruddin Haji, one of the NIS officials, okay, who preside over the Kenyan intelligence, are his cousin. Now, he might not have meant it literally like blood cousin. He might meant it like, you know, they're Somalis, I'm Somali. I don't know what sub-tribe community of Somali they are, but basically the implication was that those guys are Somali and I'm a Somali, which identifies himself with the same ethnic heritage that they share with these guys from the NIS. And that raised the eyebrows of majority of Kenyans because everyone was like, huh, so this Okech Salah, who came out of nowhere really, who claimed that he was Raila's adopted son, who was said to be close with Raila leading up to Raila's death, okay, is coming out and saying that he is cousins with the NIS top intelligence officials who happen to be also Somalis, okay, who are in the government, Ruto's government, okay? And majority of Kenyans started raising questions, saying, hey, if this guy is really connected with the top officials, top intelligence officials of Kenya, what does that mean? Because he's one of those individuals who were last seen with Raila Odinga. He was very close with Raila Odinga leading up to his death. Listen to me. This guy, we've followed Raila's political journey, okay? Anybody who knows anything about politics, we've seen the people who are around Raila Odinga, even leading up to his death. Okay, let me say not leading up to his death, but pretty much because Raila was a public figure, okay? He was a public figure. So anybody and everybody that was involved in any kind of political dealings with him, we would publicly see him with those individuals. Whether it was Orengo, we know about Orengo, they go way back, like peanut butter and jelly. We know of, who else? Oparanya. We know of, you know the names. We know the people around Raila Odinga. We know the Kisumu governor, what's his name? Charity Gelu, all these people. We know the people who were surrounding Raila Odinga, even leading up to this death. But Okech Salah, listen to me very carefully, we never saw Okech Salah with Raila Odinga until the death of Raila Odinga, and then they started posting pictures of Raila Odinga and Okech Salah in Dubai, in different, somewhere, I don't know where, in a Bentley, somewhere in Dubai, never in Kenya. The point of emphasis is this. We never saw Okech Salah in political rallies standing beside Raila Odinga. We never saw Okech Salah in political meetings, whether it was ODM or not, okay, standing along Okech Salah. We never saw Okech Salah along Raila Odinga in any public address or funeral, before Raila's death. We only started seeing Okech Salah after the death of Raila Odinga, where we were shown the pictures of Okech Salah with Raila Odinga in different events, majority of them being overseas. So here we are. Then, what's the name? Winnie does not help Okech's case by coming out and saying, hey, listen, I've seen this guy around, but this guy is not really Raila Odinga's adopted son. Like, I don't know him. You know how you've met somebody a couple of times, you've seen him around, but you don't know him? Like, you know them, but you do not know them? That's basically what Winnie was saying. Like, I know that. Then Raila Odinga Jr. also came out and commented and say, hey, listen, this guy, the same thing. He's not like Raila's adopted son. We've seen him around, but he's not what he claims to be. He's basically saying this guy was not as close to their father as he claims. You understand? Now, what that does is this, and I'm connected with the Ruto, Jalas, and all this crap that you're seeing. Remember, I started by painting a picture of these corrupt political leaders or representatives dishing out cash to Wananchi, okay? Trying to convince us that Ruto should work with ODM and continue the broad-based government, okay? That ODM should support Ruto, which is basically Ruto's main plan of taking over Luo Nyanza votes, with which majority of Luos are actually not even split. They are rejecting it, okay? So listen to me. Let me continue with this whole Salah thing. What that does, it raises more questions than answers. You understand? Because now, people are starting to question the role of this Okech Salah, who claims to be connected with the Nuruddin Haji, the Somali top officials who preside over the intelligence of Kenya. We know the intelligence of Kenya have been involved in a lot of dirty works. That death of Nani, of Jirongo, falls under them. Okay, you saw how they played it and it wasn't working because these guys are not smart. They don't know how to plan stuff. They were caught red-handed. Jirongo, aliuliwa. Let's not fool ourselves. So this is what I'm saying without accusing Salah, okay, Salah. The silliness, the sheer stupidity of this guy, along with Ruto, propping him up, using Okech Salah to hold a KICC meeting of so-called comrades with pictures printed with Ruto's face on it, trying to convince the youth majority of them being Luos that, hey, let's keep on with this broad base. Let's support Ruto so that we can continue working, so that Wakinambadi, our people can, you see, these broad-based people, even Mbadi, very stupid. Mbadi is the most silliest, stupid politician in the history of humanity. Listen to me very closely. Mbadi should be arrested. The argument is, him along with Opio and I, in their infantilizing statement, they're trying to tell Luos that, oh, you know what? Kikuyus have 9 CS appointments in Ruto's government. We only have 4. So we need more people. We need more CS spots. We need more executive appointed positions in the executive branch of government so that we can be well represented, so Luos can be happy. As if an appointment in the executive arm of government makes a difference in the machinani. You see what I'm saying? They're playing as if we are stupid. I like what Songa once asked and said, what does Opio and I, being the CS of energy, how has that helped the Luo community? Ukienda kwa kina Opio and I don't know Ugenya or Ugonja, whatever the case may be. There's only one transformer that has been built. Peke yake, barabara bado ni hakuna lami huko ni matope tu. It's still bushy. You see what I'm saying? These people are trying to play. They're treating the Luo Nyanza folks as if they're stupid. Like them being in government translates to development in their constituency. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, this is the silliness. This is the miscalculation of William Samoei Ruto. By propping up Salah, Okech Salah, who's walking around with cash that nobody knows where he got him from. We don't know what kind of job this guy has been doing. We don't know what kind of business is involved in. We don't know how he made his money. We don't know where all this money is coming from. But this guy has millions in cash that he was giving Obena for that organization in KICC. The Andalipe for printing t-shirts and bringing vijana in that KICC meeting. So what that does is it keeps on raising questions as to why Okech Salah, who claims to be close to Raila Odinga to a point where he said Raila Odinga adopted him, okay? But Raila's biological kids are saying they don't know him, he wasn't that close to him. But Okech Salah, after Raila's death, he's busy. Doing what? Busy conducting a campaign for Ruto. So people are starting to ask this question. Could it be that Okech Salah was planted by Ruto through the intelligence apparatus to come close to Raila Odinga? Raila Odinga, who was now old, frail, and I would doubt his mental faculties were up there. Could it be that this guy was brought close to unalive Raila Odinga? You saw Gaucho, even on Obina's Ninio, was asking questions. Winnie was asking questions, was saying there are so many questions that are left unanswered leading up to Baba's death. Luos have started asking questions. What I'm simply trying to say is this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades, is that the Luo Nyanza ODM faction and Luo Nyanza in general, especially those who are really revered Raila Odinga, if this narrative that Salah may have had something to do with Raila's demise, and that Salah is connected to Ruto through this NIS, what that will do, if these narratives grow stronger and louder, Ruto will be passionately hated by Luo Nyanza. And that will spill over to the Abaluya community, which is about to happen because by using Jalas, who's a political prostitute, inept in every sphere, who has obviously been paid to try to challenge Sifuna, that will be seen and is already being seen as an affront, as an attempt to attack the son of the Luya nation, Milembe nation, Sifuna, who is viewed as somebody who is vocal. So what these two things happen, Salah and Jalango, pouring cash from Ruto, trying to challenge Sifuna, try to attack Sifuna. What that does is simply going to galvanize the Mulembe nation and the Luo nation to turn against William Samoei Arap Kipchirchir Ruto. It is a poorly calculated move, politically speaking. That's why I say Ruto is not that smart. Because you've started seeing people raising questions, especially the death of Raila Odinga. The more people start raising questions, the more Salah, who is Okech Salah, who is aligned with Ruto, he shall start looking weird, crazy. Unaelewa? The more uliona Gaucho ameuliza swali hapo kwa Oburu. If Gaucho, who is supporting Oburu, who is supporting Ruto, but Gaucho is somebody who just goes with money. Yule mtu atamlipa ndiye atapiga makelele according to that. Unaona? But if these, these people, ODM folks, and a lot of Luos, Kenya tuko na ile group mentality, group thinking. Ship mentality. Mtu mmoja akisema, tunaenda nayo. Somebody who is of influence, unfortunately. So if the general feeling is that Okech Salah, who is affiliated with Ruto through the Kenyan intelligence officials like Haji Nuruddin Haji and the others, is seen as somebody who might have had something to do with Raila's death, that will lead to the Luo Nyanza totally rejecting Ruto. Because the Luo Nyanza people will see that huyo mjamaa ndiye aliua baba. And the fact that it is Jalas who is not going to win anything, we just know that. Jalas, who is also very close to Ruto, and he makes no secret about that, is trying to challenge Sifuna in attempt to do away with Sifuna. And we know Jalas is Ruto's dog, pet. That will turn Mulembe nation, Mulembe, Waluya, Western Kenya, Abandugosi, Muno. They will turn against Ruto. Now, if that happens, you already see Mount Kenya is a no-go. Ruto hata usikanyage Mount Kenya. I'm telling you, by November, Ruto will not be able to go to Mount Kenya. I'm telling you. Huko hata usikanyage. Don't even try. These two forces might come together eventually in order to take out Ruto. because they will be sharing a common enemy. That's how politics works. Now, that is not something to cheer on. For me personally, I wouldn't care. Not care that I don't care, but as far as them coming together to take out Ruto, it's a good strategy to take out Ruto, because once the Luo Nyanza people turn on Ruto, Mount Kenya ndio hao wameshashikana, si unaona nini nani ameshikana na Kenyatta ameshikana na Gachagua. Okay, and then they bring Kalonzo, Matiangi, tunaona wameshikana. So once they come together, it will be very clear washikane na hawa Mulembe Nation and washikane na the Luo Nation, because the Luos will, I'm telling you, wakina Wanga, they have to work overtime. So wakishani niyo, because now the enemy will be Ruto. Luos will not need a kingpin at that time. There'll be no kingpin, but they will be united by the fact that they feel strongly that Ruto had something to do with the death of their kingpin. Unaelewa? And also, the narrative already tumejua ya Cyrus Jirongo. Hiyo pia ikianza kuletwa tena back again as a campaign in hiyo to destroy Ruto's reputation. So Sifuna, the son of Mulembe, is been attacked, and Cyrus Jirongo ndio huyo aliuliwa. Ruto, this is a miscalculation. And once the country rallies around these issues, these communities that are most influential in Kenya turn against you. The Somalis alone are not enough to vote you back in 2027. Somalis and Kalenjins. Because even Uko Somali, they are not supporting your affiliates like in Wakina Duale. Now, the bad news is this to Kenyans. The bad news is this, Kenyans. Listen to me, Kenyans. Here's the bad news. Taking out Ruto by itself does not solve anything. Okay? We can rally around and take out Ruto. But look at the individuals who are going to prop themselves up as the Messiah, as the political Messiah. You understand? Because if you look at this whole thing, and that's why I was very deliberate in my headlines, Ruto, ODM, Jalango, Sifuna, Okech, Salah, Oburu. Our politics is basically about personalities. Our politics is basically about personalities. None of these people are talking about any issue. None of them are talking about how the law should be reinforced in order for those people who stole money in Shah and all these other scandals to go to jail. None of these people are talking about reforming or revolutionizing the system that is in place of corruption and incompetence, of extrajudicial killings, of impunity. None of these people, whether it is Sifuna, whether it is Ruto, whether it is Jalas, Okech, Salah, Matiangi, I don't know, name it, Uhuru, none of them is talking about what needs to be done. They're all talking, if you listen to the Ruto, he's talking about minta wapanga panga hapa niwalete maendeleo hapa. He's been singing the same song since he got into the office with no results at all. While every week the Auditor General is telling us about how many billions have been stolen. Who has been taken to court? Umeona anybody who has been from much in the mode? Thank you, studio, JSS 18 studio. Nice seeing you, brother. You see what I'm saying? None of them, that is the tragedy of our politics. None of them are talking about the issues addressing what will really bring change. Listen carefully. If you listen to Ruto, all he say, vijana nitawapanga panga hapa, tuko na ile nyota sijui nini, tutaleta kazi hapa sijui tutapanga panga hapo, affordable care ndio hiyo. Unaona saa Shai is funny. You see what I'm saying? He's not talking about corruption. He's not talking about why things that majority of Kenyans are complaining about, like corruption, extrajudicial killings, and all that stuff, impunity, and all that. Nobody has been brought to account for the criminal activities that are happening in our institutions. Why? Because Ruto is part of the crime or criminals. Okay? The opposition, Matiang'i will mention everything. Gachagua will mention everything. Martha Karua will, but they cannot speak about the revolutionizing the whole system. These people are just talking about inaitwaje, positions. I'll run for governor. 2027 I'll stand for presidency, candidacy. Oh, sijui mimi I'll run for MP. Oh, I'll run for MCS. Oh, that's all they talk about. You understand? Then you can have a few fakers like Jimmy Wanjigi comes in and tell us about sijui debts, sijui odious debt, as if that is helping Kenyans in real video. You see what I'm saying? No one is talking about a total overhaul of the system, step by step. Things that we can be done, like jailing people who have stolen, regardless of how powerful they are or political position they have. They should be resigning and being taken to jail, including the president, Ruto. And all this government. Just you see how flawed this system is. Anne Waiguru has finished his 10th term as a governor after looting money, public funds. After that, she wants to run for senator. She will run again for 10 years. After that, she'll become an MP for another 10 years. After that, she'll even try to be the president. If she fails that, she'll find herself in the cabinet as the next cabinet. Yani hawa watu ni merry-go-round. Anaiba hapa for 10 years, alafu anataka kuwa senator. There has to be laws in place that stops this merry-go-round political nonsense, especially with these individuals who have committed enormous economic crimes against the Kenyan people. Si kucheza merry-go-round hapa. I ran for MP for 10 years. Once I finish that, I ran for senator for 10 years. Once I finish that, I ran for governor for 10 years. Right? Once I finish that, I ran for president. We cannot operate like that and expect the system to work. I keep on telling people all these economic theories, political, social, economic theories, whether it's communism, capitalism, socialism, they're BS. The most important thing in a society, in order for it to govern itself effectively, is the concept and the principles of law. That's what brings order. Laws that are in place to protect the less fortunate from being taken advantage by those who have the resources or those who control the means of production. There has to be laws that protect every citizen, every individual. That is what's important, not these theories. That's why when people talk about socialism, it does not make sense to me. It's irrelevant, in fact. It will not cure anything. I told you the classic example of a socialist communist government in China. Look, they have people lying in the streets. with no food, dying of hunger, in the fastest growing economy in the world, the biggest economy in the world, I would argue. Why is it not working? Look at the capitalist system in America. Same thing. They have homeless people in the streets. It is not about the social, economic, political theories. It is about the rule of law. Laws that are in place in order to protect the common man, every individual rights, individual freedoms, the privilege that you enjoy as a sovereign nation. That is what is important. That's why when God was giving 10 commandments, he never said, communism is the best way to live. This social economic theory is the best way to live. No. God gave the commandments for us to treat each other, respecting our dignity, our rights, our freedoms, our privileges amongst each other. As a nation, you see what I'm saying? That is the most important thing. But like I say, I mention all these things that Ruto is frying himself in his own fat. And the politics that we are conducting in Kenya is only about politicians fighting for political positions. It's not centered on how we can improve and protect the lives and the rights and the privileges and the freedoms of the citizens. That's why, even though Ruto is frying himself, at the end of the day, even if you take him, the individuals that you see their names there that are telling you that they'll bring better in your Kenya shall not do it. Because they have been compromised. They are part and parcel of the system that got us here in the first place. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, and comrades, I will leave it here. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the good stuff. Put your notification bell on so every time I come in, you will always find me here. Thank you so much, dear studio. Thank you, Mario Kinyo, Elisha, Omugendi. Also, I hope you are doing well in Uganda. And everybody else who's going to watch this on repeat, like, share, subscribe, comment, put the notification bell, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings. I'm out.